Just make sure you put distractions away, all right? So given this polygon here, determine the interior angle. You should have counted, and it's 11, right? 11 sides. So the sum of interior angles is 11 minus 2 times 180. So that's 9 times 180. So that is simply 1620. Okay, so 1 mark there. What does this mean? It's the sum of all of these interior angles. It doesn't matter if this thing is nice and regular or irregular. It wouldn't matter. It's always, this is how you find out what they should all add up to. So if I gave you all but 1, you should be able to figure it out using this property. Right? If I gave you all the angles except for 1, you should be able to figure it out. The measure of each interior angle, I'm just going to borrow my answer. It's going to be the sum of all interior angles divided by 11. And so that's 147, sorry, 147.27. If you made a mistake up here, chances are you also made a mistake here. Like this is going to be off, but we're going to give you a step mark, okay? So if you divided your answer here by 11, you should get at least that mark for B. The measure of each exterior angle show 2 methods. So you could go 180 minus 147.27. Okay, that gives you 32.73. Or you could go 360 divided by 11, which is also 32.73. So either way, you get the answer. So 1.5 for showing both methods. So if you only showed me one method, 1 mark, half a mark for the second method. Next, label 1 interior, 1 exterior, and 1 central angle using IEC. So I want to know, do you know exactly where it's located? What are we talking about? So you can do this and on any given corner. Oops, that's an eye. Okay, that's one eye. So you've identified the interior angle, 1 interior angle. And I will actually use this intersection here to indicate where the 1 exterior angle would be located. Even though we know there's 11 of these, there's 11 exterior angles, right? So I do them beside each other. You don't have to. You could have gone anywhere else and just extend the side, and that is your another exterior angle right there. So it's up to you. And then 1 central, I just go to the center like this, and maybe you should grab a ruler on this one. Grab any of the sides and make a pizza slice out of that. Slice of pizza right there. And so this angle right there is what we call a central angle. So you've identified the I, the E, and the C, right? ICE. Only works for regular polygons, by the way. It only works for regular. Because we're assuming all of them are the same. Label 1, sorry, we did that. So 1.5 if you did all of that. Next, a regular polygon has interior angles of 172.5. Determine the number of sides. Let me just bring that up. And there are 2 methods here. You could just use this one. Right? You could start with that, and then you tell yourself, I'm multiplying both sides by n. Cancel, cancel, right? 172.5 n is equal to, you distribute this, that's 180 n minus 360. And we're going to subtract, we're going to bring the 180 over, so it's 172.5 n minus 180 n, that's negative 360. You're left with negative 7.5 n is equal to negative 360. I will continue this here because I don't have room there. So I have to copy this one more time. Divide both sides by 7.5. negative 7.5 I should say, and n is equal to 48. Another method you could use is, from this we know that the exterior angle is 7.5 degrees. Right? We take 180 minus this to get our exterior, turn that into a different question almost. And then you know that the exterior angle is equal to 360 degrees over n. This should remind you, right? There's technically an invisible 1 down here. So you cross, multiply, and divide. So n is really 360 times 1 divided by 7.5, which is 48. So regardless of how you do it, you get the same answer. You should. If you want to double check this way, that's how you know for sure you got it right. So there should be an or here. All right, and now we go into the mystery angle section. You can only use an explanation once. So on the test, if I ask you to do so, you need to figure out a way to only use each property once. Okay? And it will be possible. Okay, that's why I'm asking you to do it. Like I've done it. And usually if you follow this order, you're going to be fine. Not always. I'm not going to guarantee, but we'll just go with it. What am I going to do first? I will find x here. That's going to be my first one. So breaking the rule already. So this is 32 degrees, and that would be vertically opposite, right? Vertically opposite. So just don't shorten it too much, like VO, whatever. Like tell me you understand what they're called. So vertically opposite angles are congruent. So this is 32. And I could use, remember, you have to notice the parallel lines. Okay? And I have a transversal that connects them. This one. So parallel lines connected by a transversal. And if you think about it, you can make a zigzag or a Z right there. So the 32 could come over here using the alternate interior property. And the 123 is probably, might have thrown you off a little bit. That was the intention. But don't worry about what's in between. Just follow that transversal until you hit the other parallel line and then see how they connect. So y is 32 degrees due to the alternate interior. But what else could we have used there? Anybody notice what this one and this one, what do we call these two? They're corresponding. So maybe when you do this, you can say alternate interior angles are congruent, or, right, corresponding angles are congruent. So you will cross off one of them later, but you're giving yourself some options here so that because you can only use one property for each slot. Z, that's my third angle. I see a triangle here, so I'm just going to use that. 180 minus 123 minus y. So that's 180 minus 123 minus y is 32. And that ends up being 25 degrees. And that's sum of triangles. So sometimes if you need to show the math there, I would appreciate that even for yourselves, so you know what happened, right? So that's my third step. And which one is left? M. What's y and m? Supplementary straight angle. Yeah. So we can do that last. So we're going to go 180 minus y. So that's 180 minus 32, and that is 148. And that's just a straight angle is equal to 180. So what about this one here, Mr. Dixon? You used both I would cross off one, okay? One of those. So just use one per entry, and then you're good to go. Common mistakes. You want to see what I see sometimes is I could have asked you for this one here, and some folks see this as alternate interior. They are alternate interior, but this line is not parallel to this one, so we can't use the property that they're congruent. Okay? So just keep that in mind. Zoom out if you feel like you're stuck. Zoom out. It works out. It works out every time. Okay? Unless I make a mistake, which you know never happens, right? Never happens. All right. Work out the size of angle X. Assign letters to angles you're finding along the way. All right. So X is right here. We have nothing here going on, no numbers whatsoever. But what do we know about this triangle here? I don't know if you see those markings, equilateral, what do we know about all angles? They're all equal. It's always 60. And if you didn't know, you can find the interior angle of a three-sided is 3 minus 2 times 180. I know you're probably thinking, I will never do this. That's 60 degrees, right? Because this is a regular polygon. Okay? So 60, 60, 60. Okay. All right, so now we're going to go into this triangle here. We should be able to find this angle right here. Let's call that, I'll give it a name. Let's call that Y, angle Y. So I'll just show here, angle Y is equal to 360 degrees minus, because remember there's a full circle here at this corner. So you know this is 250, and you know that this is 60. Right, so you take away 60 and the 250, and then you'll be left with the orange part. And that is what, 50? 50. And knowing that this is 50, right, there's something about these two markings here that tell you that, right, if this side is equal to that side, so should be the angles across from those two. Okay? So in fact, when you found this Y, you can call this Y as well, because they are the same. They measure the same. So angle X is going to be 180 minus 2 times 50. Right? We take away these two 50s here. So angle X is 80. That's right. Right? 180 minus 100. There you go. So that's your final answer. So you'll see in the review, I throw a few more of these types in the review if you actually work through it. Okay. At the end of the course, I'm going to ask you for which unit was your favorite, which one was your least favorite. So try to think as we go through the course. Try to already think of that. All right. PQ and RS are parallel. Okay, so PQ and RS, these two are parallel. Okay, that's good to know. Angle QTV is 38 degrees. I need you to know where they are, okay? QTV or QTU, it could have been either one, but we know that this angle is 38. That's good. UVP is 60. So UVP, this one right here. We've got that. We know where they are, and it jives. Determine the value of the indicated angles. Explain how you got your answer. Only use an explanation once. I'm going to start with Y. Okay, these are vertically opposite, so 60 degrees. Vertically opposite angles are congruent. And then I'm going to use Z. I'm going to find Z next, sorry. They're along a straight line here, so I know that the 60 and the Z are supplementary. So 180 minus 60. That's 120 degrees. So straight angle is equal to 180. And so that's 120 there. And then X, how would I find X? What's that? CIAs? This is 60. Right, so this one and all of this one, these two are called CIAs. So I know that this angle, and that angle should add up to 180 because they are right between two parallel lines. So I'm going to go 180 minus y minus 38. That's how I'm going to get x. So 180 minus 60 minus 38. That's already 98, right? So 82 degrees. And we are going to use consecutive interior angles are equal to 180. That's the third one. Was there another way of doing it? Yeah. I can see you finding this. And we know that this is corresponding to that, right? So whatever angle you got here, you would just go 38 minus that to get the x. That's another way of. So z, right? Z is 120 here, vertically opposite. So you know if this is 120, so is this. So we just go 120 minus 38 to get x. So there are other ways of doing it. All right, some chapter 8 stuff, blast from the past here. The original sphere has a volume of this. A new sphere has been made with this volume. Determine the scale factor. Okay, so you need to go and use this one. Y cubed, because we're dealing with cube units. So remember, it's volume of new over volume of original. Make sure you have this on your study sheet. That's the one you want to be using here. Not k squared, not k, k cubed. Okay, so k cubed is new, which is 375 cubic feet over 732.42 cubic feet. Perfect, because the units cancel out like that. And to get k on its own, we want to cube root. Do you know how to get cube root? You remember that on your calculator? You should grab your calculator at this point. And make sure you understand how to do it. On the last test, one of the biggest mistakes, or a common mistake, was you found the cube root of each number individually. That's a big no-no, okay? You gotta, so if you need to put brackets on your study sheet when you are giving this example, you should understand that first you need to divide, then you take the cube root. So perhaps it's better to just go like this. Divide that, get a decimal, and then you go math, fourth option of your answer above. You paste that in, and you get 0.80. Okay. So if I see you setting it up like k cubed, 375, 732 like this, you get 1 mark already, but you would have to get the correct final answer to get the second mark. Okay. Convert the following, so miles per hour to kilometers per hour. So you start like this. And in this case, you know that 1 mile has 1.6093 kilometers. And it's an hour, so you want to stay an hour, so you don't need to worry about the time here. So we just cancel out the miles. I'm just going to look at my count. So this is 3219 kilometers per hour. 35 gallons per minute to liters per hour. So a bit more work here. Let's turn that into liters first. So 1 gallon has 3.79 liters. Cancel the gallons there. And you want it to hours. So 1 hour has 60 minutes. Cancel out the minutes, and then you're left with this. Okay? Multiply everything across, get a number. Multiply everything along the bottom, get a number. Then you divide. because everything is 1 at the bottom, I don't have to worry about it. So you get 79.59 liters per hour. For today, we're going to give 1 mark here, and we're going to give this 2 marks, because it's a little bit more work. Okay, so this whole page is worth 13, you're right. I'm just checking to make sure if I kept it that way. Yeah. So this whole page is worth 13. So somewhere on the back here, put a mark out of 13. You're the teacher. You do what is best today. But just be honest. I'd rather you be taking off a bit more than being too generous. And then the front is worth 15. If you add everything up, it's worth 15. So that gives us the full 28 at the top there. 28. Make sure your first and last name is on there. And then I'll take it in, but I'll